In this video, I want to share with you the job applications tracker that I have created inside Google Sheets. And in this video, I will show you step by step how you can create your own job applications tracker. So in the screen, you have the final results of the tool that I have just created. And as you can see, we have different sections in our tool. So the first section is going to be the application section, where we would put all the relevant information regarding the application. For example, the date of the application, the closing date, the job type, the location, the salary, etc. We also have, of course, the company name, the job title, and also the status of the job application. As you can see, we have different status, and I will show you exactly how you can create this drop-down menu so you can allow to the user to choose an option from this menu, okay? Perfect. Then the second section is going to be the interview section. So for the application where we are invited by the company to have an interview, we need to fill this section with the requested information. The information is the date of the interview, the location, it can be office or during a call, the contact name with the person with whom we'll be having the interview, and also the role of that person. We can also tick and untick these two options to indicate if the interview is done or not, and if we receive the follow-up or not. Then we have here, for example, a column where we can put any notes or comments that we have related to the interview. Now, we will also repeat this section for the second and the third interview. And the last section of our tool will be the offer stage for the applications where we were successful, we received positive feedback from the company, we will hopefully be able to receive an offer. And in this case, we need to indicate all the relevant information regarding the offer. So we've got the date received, the date when we have received the offer. We've got the response due date, the proposed date, the salary, annual bonus, paid holidays. And we can mention here other benefits if we have received other benefits. And of course, add some notes or comments if you want. Now, in this video, I will show you step by step how you can create the same job application tracker using Google Sheets. So let's create a new file, Google Sheets. Let's name it, for example, job tracker YouTube. Okay. Now, the first thing that I do usually is name my sheet. So in this case, we will name it job tracker. And the second thing that I always do is remove the grid lines. I never work with grid lines. I don't like them. I don't know why. Okay, let's start now with the different information that we want to show. So let's start with the status, company, job title, date applied, closing date, resume submitted, cover letter submitted, job type, on site or remote, location. Then we have the salary. Usually it's annual salary. And then let's add the URL of the job. So job URL. Yeah, let's indicate also our interest in the role. Interest in role. The interest in role can be high, medium, or low. Then notes or comments if necessary. So this is the first section. This is the application section. Now let's move on to the interview section. In the interview section, we have the date of the interview, the location, the contact name, role, then two columns to indicate if the interview is done, and to indicate if the follow-up is sent. Then, of course, some notes or comments if necessary. Then the idea is to copy all of this and paste it again for the second interview. All right? Since we have no other columns, we can add some more columns like this. Go back here, paste it again for the third interview. And then for the offer stage, what I suggest to do is automatically add some columns, okay? So we will insert 14 more columns in order to continue with the offer stage. Now for the offer stage, we have the date when we received the offer, the response due date, the proposed date, the salary, annual bonus, paid holidays, and other benefits if we have any. And of course, we will finish this section with the notes or comments column, okay? Perfect. Okay, let's make our tool a little more beautiful. So what I like to do is to resize my rows at columns. So for the moment, let's resize the rows. For the rows, let's select the header rows, the header row, right click, resize, and let's put 35 here. Okay. Now, what I like to do also is to center everything, make it bold, and make it a little bit bigger. Perfect. I also don't like the default font, so what I will do is select all the sheet and use pop-ins. Perfect. Now, what we can do is maybe make it a little bigger, like this. Okay, and wrap the text. Amazing. Let's make it maybe a little bigger. 50? 50 should be good. Yes, I like 50. Let's put the zoom to 75% so we can see the maximum number of columns. Then, when we move to the right, I want to freeze these columns. So in order to do this, we select the column C, and then we freeze it. Freeze up to column C. Now, when we move to the right, we have these columns freezed. Perfect. Then, let's separate the different sections. So, this is the end of the first section. Tack. Let's add a right border. This is the end of the first interview section. We add a right border, and we basically do the same for the other sections. Okay, perfect. Now, let's name our sections. So, first interview section, we select all this area, we merge the cells, and we give it a name. Let's name it, for example, interview number 1. Okay, we basically do the same for the second interview. So we copy paste, tack, name it interview 2, and then we do the same for the third interview, and we name it interview 3. Now for the offer stage, we also pretty much do the same. So we select all this area, merge the cell, and name it offer stage. Offer stage. Perfect. Let's do some formatting. So we will select the interview stage, number 1, 2, 3, and also the offer stage. Make it a little bit bigger, bold, put it in the center, and maybe give it a color. Okay, let's do this after. We forgot to name this section. Let's name it application. And in order to copy the same format, we select this format, press the paint format, and then select our cell. Okay, perfect. Now let's add some colors, color palettes. So this is a website that I use called Color Hunt that allows you to get some beautiful color combinations. Let's go to popular and maybe choose, let's choose this one. Okay, let's choose this one. So what I want to do is to use a green color for the offer stage. I will take this green, I like it. So I will press here to copy the color code and then come here, select all this row, and I will paste the color code to modify the color background. Perfect. And for the interviews, I will use this color for the first interview, this color for the second interview stage, and this color for the third interview stage. Let's do this. So we copy the color code, we go to first interview, select all the columns, change the background. I will add this new color. We'll select this new color, go to interview number 2 and add the color. And then for the interview number 3, we pretty much do the same. So we go to interview number 3, we select, add the new color, and that's it. Perfect. Let's do the same for the application. For the applications, let's choose this color. So we take this, select all the columns, and then add this new color. Okay, perfect. Let's use the same color here. Maybe put the text in white. Yes, I like it more. Perfect. Here we can maybe add a title to our tool. Let's name it job tracker. Let's format it. Tag, little bold, little bigger. Okay, that's it. Perfect. Okay. Now let's move on to the content of our job tracker. Let's start with the status. So as you noticed here, we have different status for each job application. The idea is to create a menu like this one where the user can change a status and easily pick an option from this menu. Okay. So I will show you right now how to do this. The first thing you need to do is to prepare the list. Okay. And in this case, what I usually do is always use what we call a drop down sheet. Drop down sheet. In this sheet, I store all the drop downs of the document. As usual, I remove the grid lines. Always use Poppins. This is my favorite font. And let's list different status. And then for the list, we have the first one is need to apply. Then applied. After we apply, we have the first interview. So first interview scheduled. Okay. And then after we schedule the first interview, after we do the first interview, we will wait for feedback. So first interview awaiting feedback. Okay, perfect. Then we do the same for the second and third interview. So here we have second, and here we'll put second again. Here we have third, and here we have third again. So after the interviews phase, we have the offer stage. So let's say that the offer is received. After we receive the offer, we either accept the offer accepted, or we reject the offer rejected. And the third option is negotiation. So we can enter at any moment in a negotiation phase with the company. Negotiation. Oh. Negotiation. Yes, I got it this time. Then the last status of a job application is application rejected. And this is the worst case scenario if the company rejects the application. So application rejected. Okay, perfect. Now that we have the list of all the status, Let's make this one bold, a little bigger, and center it. Okay, now that we have the list, now we can create our drop-down menu. So to do this, we need to select the cell where we want to have the drop-down menu, go to data, data validation, and add a new rule. So in this case, we want to apply this new rule for all the column A. In this case, we will select here from cell A4 to A. This will select all the column A. And then in the criteria, we will select drop down from a range, and here we will select our range. So the range is going to be all of this. My recommendation is to not stop at A14, but also continue to A. So it's from the cell A2 to the rest of the column A. And why we do that? Because imagine if, for example, we identify new status. In this case, we should come here and put the new status, right? So imagine if here we take into consideration only the range from A2 to A14, we need to modify a rule again, all right? But if we select all the column A, all we need to do is just add some status here and the new options will be taken into account. Then one more thing, I don't like these chips, okay? So what I usually do is come to advanced option, select arrows, and then make sure to reject the input. This feature will allow us to control the input of the user, all right? This will allow us to have better data quality and force the user to use the options that were predefined inside our tool. So in this case, when we come here, we can click on the cell, on the little arrow here, and then we will be having this drop-down menu. Select different options that we have, okay? Let's make this a little bigger. So what I suggest is to first of all, resize all the rows. Around 35 is good. 35 is good. And then what I usually do is only keep 100 rows. Okay, so we delete the rest of the rows. The user can always add more rows if needed. Okay, and then what we can do is select all the rows, put it in the middle, and maybe make it a little bigger. I don't know how this will show. Yes, let's make it 12. Okay, perfect. Now what we can do is make this a little bigger. Okay, it's perfect like this. Okay, perfect. Maybe we can put this in the center. Yes, and make it bold. All right, amazing. Okay, for the company, we basically do the same. So let's do a test, for example. Let's say that we found a job at Google. Job title is data analyst. Analyst, okay. Let's put it in the center. Okay, perfect. Now for the application date, I want to do the same as here. But this time I want to force the user to enter a date. So in this case, what we do, we select all the column, go to data, data validation, add a new rule, all right? Select all the column. So it's going to be from D4 to D. And here I want to choose the criteria is valid date and tell him that if you don't give me a date, I will reject your input. So make sure to select this and click on done. Now in this case, the user can double click here and directly a calendar will display and the user can choose any date wanted. Okay. Now what I like to do also in this case is to choose the format of the date. I always use this format. Oops, sorry. Come here. Custom date and time. Always use this format. Okay. Put it in the center. Amazing. Now for the closing dates, we will basically do the same. So the best and the fastest way to do it is to select all these columns, press Ctrl C to copy the content, come here and press Ctrl V. And we basically have all the rules applied here inside this column. Perfect. For the resume and the cover letter, what I want to do here is insert a checkbox that will allow the user to tick or untick the checkbox if the resume and the cover letter are submitted or not. Perfect. Now for the job type, we want to pretty much do the same as the status. So we want to have a drop-down menu like this one, and then the user can choose from this list. So it can be either full-time, part-time, contract, or internship. All right. So in this case, what we need to do is go to the drop downs, and then in another column, we will put the different options for the job type. Let's say here job type, and here we can have full-time, part-time, contract, and internship. Okay, let's copy the same format in here. Amazing. Now we can go back to our job tracker, select all the column, go to data validation. It's already opened here, so we add a new rule, drop down from a range, make sure to select all the column H, select the criteria, drop down from a range, and then here inside the range, go to drop downs, select this, then select your range. Also make sure to select all the column, because again, if we add some new job types, all we need to do is add them into the column B, and they will be automatically taken into account inside our rule. Press enter, go to advanced option, arrow always, and then make sure to reject the input if the input is different than these options. Click on done, go back here, and here we can see that everything is working. I will also put this in the center. Okay. Now for the on-site or remote, we will exactly do the same. Go to drop downs, on-site, or remote. The different options will be on-site. Let's make it capital letter. On-site, oops, sorry. On-site, remote. Let's change the format here. Perfect. Maybe make it a little bigger. Amazing. And then we go back here. We select all this column. Data validation, data validation already opened here. Add new rule. Select all the column I from range. And then we select this range. Okay. As always, make sure to select all the column. Advanced options, arrow, and then reject input if it's different than these options. Done. Now we can see that the user can choose either on-site or remote. We can also center the content. I think it's going to be better. Now for the location, the user can enter, for example, the name of the city. Let's say, for example, that this job is in New York. Let's center all this content. Okay, center it. Perfect. Next, we have the salary. So for the salary, usually it will be in your local currency. So it can be dollars, euro, pounds, etc. For the sake of this video, I will use dollars. So I will select all the column and press here on format as currency. And the default currency in Google Sheets is dollars, sorry. If you want to change the currency, you can go here and then you can custom currency. And here you will find a lot of different currencies. Choose your local currency or the currency you want to use. So let's say, for example, that the annual salary will be 50,000. Okay. Then the job URL is just going to be the link where we have found the job application. So let's say, for example, indeed/google.com, for example. This is a random URL, right? I can put any URL in here. All right. The interest in role is going to be the same as the status, job type, and on-site or remote. Go to drop downs, then select here interest in role can be low. Let's make it capital letter. High, medium. Okay, perfect. Then we go back here. We select all the column, add new rule, select all the column here, drop down from range, come to drop down and select this range. Make sure to select all the column D. Again, advanced options, select the arrow and reject the input if it's different than this option. Data validation is really, really interesting. And when you use it inside your Google Sheets documents, it can make a big difference, okay? I don't know what I did here. Okay, I think I understand. Here I need to start from M4. Done. Okay, perfect. Now we can select the interest that we want. Okay, let's say, for example, that we are really interested in this job, in this role. Okay. Now for the interview, here we have a date. So we will pretty much do the same. Okay. We can copy this and paste it here to have the same formatting. But for the sake of the video, I will do it again. So select all the column, go to data validation, add new rule, date is valid date. Make sure to select all the columns. So it's going to be from 04 to O. This means that we'll go from 04 to the end of the column 4. Okay, this is really important. Keep it in mind. And then we reject the input if this is not a date. Finally, let's center it and format it as a date. Now the user can easily double click, display the calendar, and choose a date. Location is going to be inside or remote. What do we do? Go to drop downs, location, inside, or call. Sorry, not remote, but call. Format the title, go back here, select all the column, add new rule, select all the column here, drop down from a range, select this range, advanced options, arrow, and make sure to reject the input if it's different than these options. Okay, perfect. Let's center it also. Amazing. Now for the contact name, here the user can enter contact name role, same. Let's center it. Interview done and follow-up sent. We can add some checkboxes, same as the cover letter and the resume. Insert checkboxes and make sure they are centered. And for the notes, we can leave it like this, maybe center it. Okay, let's select all the column and center it. Okay. Now for the second interview and the third interview, we will pretty much select all of this, Control C to copy the content, and Control V for interview 2 section and interview 3 section. Now we have all the formatting, all the data validation rules copied from this section to the second interview section and the third interview section. Okay? And then the last section is going to be the offer stage. So for the date received, we will do the same thing. We select order column, add new rule, make sure that the criteria is valid date, make sure to select all the column AJ and reject the input if it's different than a date. Okay? Here we can center the content and please don't forget to change the formatting to this format. Okay? For the response date and the proposed date, let's do copy paste. Okay? Control C, Control V again, Control C, and Control V again here. Then for the salary, we select all the column, make sure it's centered, okay? And then make sure the currency is in dollars. Same for the annual bonus, okay? Center it, make sure that the currency is dollars. Paid holidays, center it and leave it like this. Other benefits and notes, center them and leave them like this, okay? Let's now do some tests. So let's say, for example, that you have just found this job application. So the first status of the job application will be need to apply. Okay, so you need to apply to this job application. Let's say, for example, that you still did not apply it. Okay, this is the first time that you find this job application. Okay, perfect. So let's say, for example, that you were searching for a job in LinkedIn and you find this job application, this job. Okay, basically you want to be a data analyst in Google. So the first status that your job application will take is need to apply because you found the job and you still did not apply. Okay. Now, for example, let's say that you go back home at night and you open the file and then you notice that you need to apply to this job application. So the first thing that you do, for example, is to prepare a resume and a cover letter. Okay. And then you apply, you send your application to the manager. So the date applied is going to be today, for example. Okay. And let's say, for example, that when you check the job application, you were able to gather some information. Okay. So the applied date is 14th of December. You send the resume, the cover letter, the job type is full time, for example. It's going to be on site. The location is New York, not Nesnork, but New York. New York. The salary is going to be 50K. Perfect. The job URL is joburl.com. This is just an example, all right? Perfect. Okay, then let's say, for example, that you're really interested in the role, so you put the interest as high. And let's say that you have no comments or no notes to add. So since you have applied, you need to change the status of the application to applied, all right? Now you need to continue searching for other applications. Let's say that you have been contacted by the company and now they have offered you an interview. So the first thing to do is go to the interview section because you are now in the next step of the job application. Enter a date. Let's say, for example, that they want to have an interview with you 20th of December, December 20th, and the location is going to be during a call, all right? No need to go to the company, just having a call with the human resources, for example. His name is John Smith, okay? And he is the human resources manager, for example. Okay, so the status is first interview scheduled. This is the process. This is how we go from need to apply status to offer accepted or offer rejected. All right. This is the normal process. So let's say, for example, that today we're the 20th of December, the interview is okay, everything went well. Come back home, open the file, and then you say, interview is done. You check this. Now, the status of the application will be first interview awaiting for feedback. And let's say that tomorrow they will give you their feedback. So when you receive the feedback, when you receive the follow up from the interview that you have just did, check this one. Okay. And then let's say, for example, that the interview was good. You were able to convince them to invite you to a second interview. So the second interview is scheduled and the date is going to be, for example, December 26th. Location. Now the location is going to be inside. Okay. Contact name. Let's say, for example, that you will have a second interview with your manager from IT department. Okay. So let's say that his role is IT manager, and the name is going to be Will Smith this time. Right. Imagine Will Smith working as an IT manager. And yeah, so the second interview is now scheduled on December 26th. Let's say, for example, that today is the interview day. You went to the company, everything was good. Interview done. Come back at home, interview done. Second interview, waiting for feedback. When you got the feedback, follow up sent, and it's either third interview or they will directly offer you something, right? So that says, for example, that you were amazing. You were made for this job and you were able to convince them after two interviews, and now you have an offer. So, offer received. Let's say that you received the offer the next day, December 27th, okay? And they told you that you need to give us a response before the end of the year, okay? And the proposed date is going to be 2nd of January. Amazing. For the salary, let's say that you agreed on 50K, annual bonus 5K per year, and the paid holidays are going to be 37. There is no other benefits, no other notes. Let's say that you think, maybe with your girlfriend, with your wife, with your parents, and let's say that you accept the offer. So, offer accepted, everything is okay, everyone is happy. You're happy, the company is happy, you will start working on the 2nd of January, right? Let's say, for example, that you want to negotiate. So, you put the job application into the negotiation status and you exchange some emails, maybe phone calls with the company to see if they can, for example, raise your salary, all right? If the offer doesn't suit you, you don't want to continue with them, you just reject the offer rejected, and that's it. And you continue looking for other jobs. This is how it works. Okay. I hope this video was clear. I hope you understood how to create this amazing job application tracker in Google Sheets. I believe that this tool can really, really help you manage and track efficiently and easily your job applications. Now, if you want to have a free copy of this job application tracker, go check the first link in the description.